Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Terrence's World March Madness Reaction Podcast. It's been a week, over a week now. It's been a little while. Had a lot of work going on, but it's a good time to break it down. This Elite Eight is later tonight. I'm recording this on Saturday, March 29th. Elite Eight, the final games. No, sorry, excuse me. The start of the Elite Eight is tonight. Duke, Alabama, Texas Tech, Florida. But we are going to go through the entire bracket, do my reactions, all sorts of that stuff. And I want to start this off by saying this. This was not my fault. I am still a top tier ball knower. I am still top pedestal. What happened in this tournament, it was just chalk. The first two rounds were chalk. Since then, however, my bracket's actually been quite good. In my own bracket group, I have 600 in my main bracket. I have 680 points. I'm tied for 19th of 70 people and I have the fifth most points possible of anyone. My entire Final Four is intact. I got six of the eight Elite Eight correct, and if Michigan didn't screw me over by choking that one, then I'd be totally fine. So I feel like I need to say that because I've been getting questioned a lot of my ball knowledge, and I know a lot of ball knowledge. That being said, we're going to go through the bracket. We're going to get some reactions of the games, talk about the first round, do it maybe a little bit more briefly, then we'll talk about second round and Sweet 16. I'm gonna skip the chalk matchups like the 15, 16s. I should let's start off with the first game. We're gonna start in the South region. Louisville Creighton. I already mentioned this. Big swing and a miss. Huge miscalculation on my end. I really thought that was going to be my genius pick. That was going to be the this guy knows. Nope, it was just completely overthinking. Because I was high on Creighton going into the tournament, and then they got seeded with Louisville, and the game's in Lexington. It was like, oh, it's too perfect. Way overthought that. Swing and a miss on my part. I doubt anyone took my advice on that, because why would you? Swing and a miss. That's all I got to say about that. Moving down, I'm gonna looking at just like my bracket. This is my main bracket, not necessarily. This is my main bracket that I'm looking at right here. So Michigan beats UCSD. I did have UCSD in some. I had Michigan in this one. I had Michigan in the Elite Eight in this one, actually. That's why I say that Auburn screwed me. I'll talk about that game in a bit. But damn, UCSD got screwed over. I mean, just watching that game, if you watch back there should have been a foul on Michigan in the under 1 minute mark. Also, when they hit the three, forget who it was. Wasn't Golden, wasn't Wolf. Was it Gale? Maybe Roddy Gale. But his foot was out of no, it wasn't Gale. But whatever. His foot was on the line, should have been out of bounds. UCSD very much could have won that game. They lost by three. I will say their final possession was terrible. It was just horribly drawn up. They had a timeout. Did they have a timeout? I think they had a timeout. Didn't use it. They just went. They had time to, if they wanted to go for two, take the two and maybe try and foul. All they did was run a little. I'm trying to remember it exactly. Ran a little play where the point guard got the ball and took a contested. They got the switch onto Wolf where he was guarding. What's his name? Not the New Zealander. Forget who it was. They got the switch they wanted, and it ended up just being a step back three, heavily contested three. Not a good shot. UCSD loses that game. Tough one though. Yale, Texas A&M, another huge swing and a miss. Not huge, minor swing and a miss on this one. Yale was totally in it. Texas Tech controlled that entire game, though. It was overall not great. That wasn't great. It just I picked Yale. This was the only upset I believe that I picked. There was Yale that I had Yale in every single one. It was the only upset across all my brackets where I picked that upset in every single one. I don't really know why. Um, but that's what I ended up going with. Moving on down, Ole Miss versus North Carolina. Picked Ole Miss. They dominated for the entire game, then gave me a little scare there, but ended up being fine. Beat the Tar Heels by seven. Anyone who bought into North Carolina, saw people in Finn Baker, a viewer and guest on this show, picked North Carolina to the Elite Eight and has the audacity to to insult my ball knowledge. Get the fuck out of here. He bought into that despite North Carolina not having a single quad one win. Whatever. Iowa State Lipscomb, not relevant. Marquette, New Mexico. Rolled with the Lobos all year long, baby. Paid off. Very much could have beaten Michigan State. They were in that game the whole time. Um, Yeah, great game from the Lobos. Nelly Junior Joseph, that's his name, was phenomenal. Donovan Dent did not have the best of tournaments. He was only fine. He's going to UCLA though. That's brutal for, as you can see, USC guy. They have they're returning a lot of talent. They're going to be real good next year. That sucks. I do think USC will be pretty solid, but UCLA I think is going to be damn good. Moving on down to the West region, UConn, Oklahoma. UConn tried to lose this game. They really did. It was an awesome game. I did not think Oklahoma would be in it as much as they were, though. I will say that. It very much felt like UConn was going to pull away and then didn't. It was a little weird. But they ended up pulling away. They won the game. Talk about them in Florida in a second because that was a phenomenal game. Memphis, Colorado State rolled with the Rams the entire time. This is no, I didn't pick. I picked Memphis in one bracket. I forget why. Really stupid because I have them in all my others. Colorado State, that is. Colorado State, they were down for most of the game. Second half, they just played lights out where they were phenomenal. Nick Clifford, oof, that guy was incredible down the stretch. I mean, down the stretch the entire year for Colorado State, but they were phenomenal. Um, Rams pulled it out. Maryland Grand Canyon, Crab 5 destroyed. Drake, Missouri. Drake played their game. They won. That's exactly what that was. It was phenomenal. It was fun to watch. Because that's exactly how they wanted to play. Is just that slow paced basketball, and that's how you beat it. Bennett Sturts, he's gonna be phenomenal Big Ten point guard. Obviously following Ben McCollum to Iowa next year. He's gonna be fantastic. He's easily one of the best players who entered the portal already. Obviously, he's already committed to Iowa, I'm pretty sure. Texas Tech, UNC Wilmington. It's funny how far Texas Tech has come because they have really actually overcome a lot. They have given a lot of scares, and yet they are right here in the Elite Eight, playing in about 3 hours from now, from when I'm recording this, that is. Kansas, Arkansas, swing and a miss, chose Kansas. Arkansas, one of the better runs of the tournament as far as, I'm not going to call them Cinderella because this team has an unlimited Tyson Chicken Fund and one of the best coaches in college basketball. But I picked Kansas. I thought Bill Self and that team were more talented overall. It was two teams who just disappointing years. I mean, of course, Arkansas, I don't even think you can say truly disappointing because they made the Sweet 16. Definitely could have been better. But Kansas, my God, that team should have been so much better than they were. Hunter Dickinson, thank goodness, good riddance. That guy sucks at basketball. That guy is terrible. I don't understand how you're 7'2" and you're 7'2", like 23, and you can't play basketball. What? How are you still in college basketball and you still suck? That guy, he threw the game away from them, literally. St. John's beat Omaha by 30. Weird second half for them. Duke destroyed Mount St. Mary's. Shocker. Mississippi State Baylor, one of the better games of the first round. Baylor pulled it out. Guys like Jeremy Roach, Rob Wright, VJ Edgecombe, what's his name? Norchad Omier. It's another team that I think should have been a lot better than they were. It just feels like that team had a lot more talent than they showed, especially with the fifth year guys like Omier and Roach. I just feel like they should have been a lot better. And of course, Scott Drew, a coach, phenomenal coach. Um, Oregon Liberty. Oregon kicked the shit out of Liberty in football and men's basketball. I'm not sure what else you can think about that. I'd say if I were Liberty, never schedule Oregon in any sport. It clearly does not work out. Akron, Arizona. Arizona destroyed them. BYU, VCU. Ended up choosing VCU in this one. Really disappointed about that because I was super high on BYU all year. And I basically got convinced by TikTok and Casey Kaslan, another guest on this show, that it was a terrible matchup for BYU and they were never going to be in that game. Screw you guys. I hate myself for that. That's why I've made a vow to myself next year. I'm making my brackets. I'm deleting social media. It's just I'm deleting TikTok for the week. For that like 4 day period of Sunday to when was it? Thursday, I guess. I'm deleting TikTok. The only person I'll look at Ryan Hammer's Twitter. That's the only person I will look at. Other than that, my opinions are my own. That's how because I had BYU originally in the Sweet 16 Elite Eight. So that was on me. Wisconsin, Montana, Wisconsin, easy one. I thought my pick of Wisconsin to the Elite Eight was great at that point. They looked so good, but whatever. St. Mary's, Vanderbilt. I had Vanderbilt. Brutal. I just thought that the Gales were not really legit at all. Robert Morris, Alabama, Alabama. That was closer than it should have been. I should actually mention this one. It's funny how far Bama's come because they've played lights out since that game. They almost choked that, and since then, destroyed BYU, destroyed St. Mary's. One versus Duke is going to be an awesome game tonight. Houston, SIUE, nope, don't care. Gonzaga, Georgia. Gonzaga blew the brakes off them. That's what you get when a top 10, I think they're 8 in Ken Palm right now, plays a team who, in my opinion, barely maybe should have been the last four in, not a 9 seed. I think the SEC was really overseeded in this tournament. Regardless, exactly what I thought would happen to them happened to them. They got destroyed. Clemson McNeese. I hate Clemson, South Carolina. Like, why did I put my faith in them? I put them in my Sweet 16. I cannot believe I did that. This was an obviously a popular upset pick. I didn't fully buy into the McNeese hype. They were great. I didn't fully buy into it is the thing. I thought Clemson was overall a better team. They were experienced. They had won a lot of games. The ACC just sucked. The ACC, apart from Duke, I don't count Duke right now as an ACC team. I count Duke as literally a league of its own. The ACC sucked. There's literally no other way to put it. High Point Purdue. I think I actually had High Point. This is another one like Yale. I had High Point in all my brackets. Purdue, they played Purdue's game of they play the same game of you know score as much as we can at a high clip, and Purdue just did it better. That's all that was. Illinois Xavier. I can't believe I chose Xavier to my Sweet 16. I like actually cannot believe I did. It's another boneheaded decision. Illinois, they really tore away from that one. It was just they played so much better than Xavier overall. They were hitting everything. Xavier wasn't hitting anything. Not much to say. Kentucky, Troy chose Kentucky. UCLA, Utah State. UCLA beat the brakes off of them. Very glad about that. And Tennessee, Wofford. Moving on to the second round. Got a little more interesting here. Definitely a little bit more interesting. Still, it's pretty chalk. I think I'm just gonna hit some of the interesting games in this one, though. I don't want to go through everything. Let's start off though. Michigan, Texas A&M. Michigan storms back down 9, was it, in the second half to Texas A&M. Ends up winning by 12. A lot closer than it was ended up on the final scoreboard. But overall, the Michigan looked really good right then, and I was pretty confident in them up until last night, of course. But great game for them. Um, Ole Miss, Iowa. I'll mention this briefly. Ole Miss, Iowa State. That was pathetic from Iowa State. And I saw this on Pardon My Take. We need to start to thinking about having a conversation about TJ Olterberger because I think he's a great coach and he's defensively. This guy can't win in March. And sure, you're missing one of your starters in how am I forgetting his name? I forget. Missing one of your best players, one of your best scorers. This happens every year with him. He always cannot make it past the second round or Sweet 16. Excuse me. It's why, like I said, I think he's a great coach. It's why we need to start to thinking about having conversation about him because it just feels like these Iowa State teams should be a lot better and should not get blown out. Like they only lost by 13 to Ole Miss. It was 20 the entire game. It may as well have been 30 to 40, excuse me. So we need to think about it. That's all I'm going to say. New Mexico, Michigan State. It's January, February, Izzo. That's how it is. I mean, we'll get a better taste of that tomorrow in the Elite Eight. See if Izzo gets back to the Final Four. Last time was in 2019. I was at that, watched him play. But great game against New Mexico. New Mexico kind of in shambles now. Richard Pitino left for Xavier. Dent obviously in the portal. Lots of guys are going to leave. It's very sad. It's kind of what the portal is now, and it sucks. But what are you going to do? Florida UConn. This is where these two games right here. I'm gonna talk about all of these. These have been games of the tournament so far. Two of the games of the tournament. Florida UConn. Phenomenal. Florida, it's back and forth the whole time. Walter Clayton. Man, that guy is so tough. He is easily the best guard in the country. Definitely, I think he's primarily a point guard, but you could probably classify him as a shooting guard. Ooh, he's so good. I saw this on Twitter. You forget his name is Walter. That's how fucking tough he is. He is ridiculously good. He hits everything when the Gators need it. And even outside of that, when he doesn't have a great game, like he didn't versus Maryland, he wasn't fantastic. Their supporting cast is so good. You got guys like Will Richard. They're just so good. Like he's not the only one. It's why I have Florida and Duke in the finals. It's just I think those are the deepest teams where if their best player doesn't have a good night, it's fine. You got four more guys who will give you 20. Like that's how I feel about them. So the UConn, I'm glad to see them lose. They haven't obviously lost in the NCAA tournament in 2 years, so it was good to see them finally lose. Then we move to the game of the tournament, Maryland, Colorado State. Oh my goodness, what a game. Maryland obviously was down 12 to the Rams. They storm back. They are up one with like, what is it, 20 seconds. Colorado State hits a deep three to go up with, what was it, like four. So Maryland comes down, calls a tournament timeout, excuse me. Then Derek Queen. Oh my goodness, the freshman. Give me the motherfucking ball. That's what he said in that huddle. Love to see it. That was an awesome game. So fun to, especially after everyone complained about the tournament where there wasn't enough upsets, there wasn't enough close games. It was really awesome to see that. That was such a fun game. Um, so yeah, love seeing that. Sucks that Kevin Willard's gonna leave them, but whatever. Um, Drake, Texas Tech. Texas Tech played better the entire game. Drake obviously made it close, but this is the problem. The problem with slow-paced teams is if you get down, it's really hard to come back, and that's exactly what happened to Drake. They just couldn't come back, and that sucks. It was a fun little run. Obviously, Ben McCullum and Bennett Sturts are gone now. Be interesting to see who they hire. Um, but it sucks. Good run though. Arkansas St. John's, our biggest upset of the tournament, I think. Maybe you can say Clemson McNeese, but no, not really. I'd say this one. Um, I have a lot of thoughts about this game actually. I Patino, Rick Patino, excuse me, great coach. Benching RJ Lewis was not the right thing to do. Now he's in the portal actually, which is I'm not surprised at all. Out of the hate he got from gamblers, from just like he deactivated social medias, from just like you're the best player on the team all year. You don't have a great game. And in the game where you need a guy to step up for leadership, maybe get some buckets. Obviously, he was 3 for 17, had a bad game. And you bench him, I just don't think that's the right thing to do. I just think purely, obviously, the scoring part I get. From pure leadership standpoint, you don't bench the Big East player of the year. You just don't. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I just really can't agree with that. And I'm not surprised at all that he's in the portal. Like I don't think anyone should give him hate for that. I would be pissed off at Patino too if I was had one bad game but got my best player and you get benched in the game in the elimination game where you lose. I'd be pissed. So I get why he's leaving. Um, I'm not gonna talk about Duke Baylor. Duke it blew him out. Oregon, Arizona. Oregon had a chance to bury him early and just didn't. Ah, I had Oregon beating them. I just think that they should have won this game. They should have. Caleb Love took over. He was phenomenal this entire tournament. Sucks that he's out now. Wish we could have seen him later because that guy, he turns up in the NCAA tournament. He can be inconsistent at times in the regular season. Man, does he turn up in the regular season. So sucks that he lost to Duke. BYU Wisconsin. This is my third favorite game of the year or game of the tournament. BYU got screwed over by that flagrant foul on what's his name? Big white guy. That's all of BYU. Not very descriptive. Um, Ridiculous flagrant foul where he's literally just like leans into a guy, catches him in the down under, and where the sun don't shine, and gets ejected. That was ridiculous. That was egregious, and that put Wisconsin back into the game. Gave him a chance to tie. John Tonji, he can't do it all. He had 36. Wasn't a great shot. He looked like he was just trying to draw the foul, which I'd just try and get a bucket there. It looked like he was just trying to go through the free throw line because he's one of the best free throw shooters in college basketball. And I get that. I think should just try to get a bucket, not try and fake it. Because BYU, credit to them, phenomenal defense, not jumping on that. I don't think it was Demchitz or whatever the Igor, whatever the Russian's name is. Um, Maybe it was the Tater Tot. What's his name? Braden? No. Bad with names. It's all right. Great game though. Alabama over St. Mary's. Nothing to say there. Alabama controlled the entire time. Houston Gonzaga, awesome game. It sucks that these teams had to meet so early. Two top 10 Ken Palm teams just hurt them both. And brutal for Gonzaga. I think they would have beaten a lot of other teams. I think they could have beaten any two seed, in my opinion. Just sucks that they had to play Houston right there because that's one of the best teams in the country. So that sucks. McNeese Purdue. Purdue played their game, beat them handily. That was simple. Illinois, Kentucky, kind of similar. Illinois let it go out of hand really quickly with not really quickly, but definitely in the second half, they let Kentucky play fast pace, and almost no one's beaten Kentucky when they play fast pace. Paced, damn it. Um, yeah. UCLA, Tennessee. Tennessee, this scoreboard, it was only nine in the end. Tennessee was up 12 the whole game. Nothing to say about that. Let's move on to the Sweet 16. The games that happened earlier this week, as in Thursday, Friday. We have the Elite Eight in less than 2.5 hours, just about 2.5 hours, actually. But Auburn, Michigan, let's start off with that. Michigan screwed me. I mentioned that. Up nine and they just collapsed. I had them in my bracket. If I had that, I would have vaulted up in my bracket group because no one picked Auburn. Also, would have screwed a lot of people, which I really would have liked. Regardless, Tahad Pettiford, woof, Tahad Pettiford and Janai Broom, those guys are so tough. Pettiford was having a poor game, Trey Donaldson talks shit, and Pettiford just goes crazy after that. So I love seeing that. I love seeing a guy who's getting shit talked to and then just turns up because of it. I love seeing that. So even though I'm obviously not rooting for Auburn, love to see that. Auburn wins 78-65. Ole Miss, Michigan State. Awesome back and forth game. Spartans ended up just controlling towards the end, and it's hard to Chris Beard, great coach in March. It's January, February, Izzo. There's no other way to say it. Izzo, one of, if not the best coaches in March. I'll get to who I think is the best coach right now. I think he's the second best coach in college basketball right now. Get to the other guy in a moment. But played great. Michigan State played great. I'm really rooting for him on Sunday. That'll be an awesome game. Can't wait. Florida versus Maryland. I feel bad for the Crab Five because, like I mentioned, Walter Clayton, he had a bad game. And yet, guess what? They've got other guys who can just give you 20. That's just how this Florida team is. Why I think they're the best team in the country. Um, Maryland's in such a shit situation because Kevin Willard is so clearly leaving them for Villanova. He's treated this whole situation so poorly. He's just done a terrible job with it. Even if he comes back, it's just, which I don't think he will, it's just forever. I just feel like you've tainted yourself. It's terrible. It's what he's done. And he's completely taken away the situation from the players, which were so awesome. All these guys were so awesome. Julian Reese, Derek Queen, Gillespie, excuse me. They were awesome all throughout the season, including the NCAA tournament. And Kevin Willard is completely distracted in that. It's incredibly selfish and ridiculous, in my opinion. Texas Tech, Arkansas awesome game. This is maybe second best game in the tournament so far. The games have really stepped up towards the end, which I'll talk about. There's a reason for that. I'll talk about that at the end of the episode. Um, but overall, wow, what a game. I don't know. Texas Tech storming back. They are improbably here in my opinion because it doesn't make sense to me that they're here. They totally could have lost any of these games to Wilmington, to Drake, to Arkansas. They could have lost any. And now they're here in the Elite Eight. And it is kind of why I think Florida might blow the brakes off them. But they were down six with a minute 30. They were down like 13 late in the second half. I want to say 4 or 5 minutes to go. Don't remember exactly. They come back and win in overtime. What's like JT Toppin the double double? What a game from them. I do think there's some programs where you can I mean college basketball is always fun. There's some programs where in my opinion college basketball is better when they are good, and I think Texas Tech is one of those. I don't know why, but I just really like them, and I like when they're good. I don't know how else to say it. Duke, Arizona. This is another game that wasn't actually as close. Duke controlled most of the game, basically all of the game, and then just decided late, nah, we'll stop playing our regular offense and let Arizona come back into it. It shouldn't have been seven. It should have been a lot more. I'm not really worried about this Duke team. I don't think they'll blow out Alabama, but I think it's very possible they win by 9 to 10. I think they're favored seven right now, I want to say. think it's seven. I think the spread is I think it's Duke -7, maybe it's nine. It's nine. It's a lot. It's more than you'd think, is what I'm trying to say. But that'll be a good game. Houston, Purdue. I just talked about who I think the second best coach in the country is. Kelvin Sampson is the best coach in the country. If you were watching that play, that was that final play of the game. Purdue ties it, obviously, 2.2 seconds. They maybe got a Houston probably got away with a push off. Milos Usman, whatever. That was genius play calling by Kelvin Sampson because it was a lot of things that had to go in mind because I don't think Uzan, excuse me, was the initial. The ball wasn't going to him. It was great instincts by the person who received the pass, forget who it was, to pass it back to him. But I don't know how to draw this play up with like without looking ridiculous on screen. But screen up top, screen up top, come down right here. He's probably not. This guy is probably the first read right here. Then LJ Cryer rolls over. Braden Smith is guarding the inbound. He's guarding Uzan. I watched a breakdown of this. If you watch any Braden Smith tape, you would know that he always helps off on that. He always is guarding the inbounder and helps off on that. So they know that he is going to help off when Cryer gets open because Cryer gets open off the wing over here, or more the corner, I guess. But if so, anyone who criticizes Braden Smith for going over there, you're wrong. You don't know basketball because LJ Cryer would have been wide open. Sure, he had a bad game. You don't leave the best player on the team wide open. Goes inbound, right back. It goes inbound to the key, to the wing, more the free throw, more free throw line, wing key, whatever. Um, right back to the inbounder, scores at point 0.9 to go. Genius by Kelvin Sampson because you not only have to draw up a fantastic play, which you've run a ton before. They talked about that on the broadcast. They've run all these late game situation plays. You also have to understand what the other team is going to do. You have to understand what Braden Smith is going to do. You have to understand which shot is going to be open. That is a clear understanding the film. It is knowing your opponent, and it was genius. It is why Kelvin Sampson is the best coach in the country. It was incredible. It was genuinely genius, and I will never not commend him for that. Like I know glazing, whatever. Do not care. I've watched that play 100 times. It is genius. Anyways, moving on, Kentucky, Tennessee, a little more boring game. Um, Tennessee, they played their game. I tweeted about this. I showed it on my story. You're not going to be. Kentucky needed to speed that game up. It was the opposite of the Illinois game. Kentucky got slowed down. That's not their style of basketball. They're not going to win when they do that. Um, they played Tennessee's game, which is slow, methodic. Not going to win like that. They weren't really hitting their shots. Tennessee wins. Now, this is the thing I will leave off on. This is a fucking incredible Elite Eight. This is the best teams in the country. We have nine of the top eight Ken Palm teams. We have all the two seeds except for St. John's. We have all the one seeds, and that one exception of Florida, they're playing number 3 seed Texas Tech, the Cinderella Texas Tech. This is going to make for an epic Elite Eight. This is going to be some fantastic basketball. I think, like I mentioned, maybe Florida versus Tennessee or Texas Tech won't be great. This will be incredible basketball, what we're going to see in the Elite Eight tonight and tomorrow, in my opinion. Because while it does suck there are no upsets, as someone who picked a lot of upsets, who loves seeing the upsets, what this has done is show that the better teams have won. There is clearly a top level of teams, and they are still there. They are now playing each other. So we are going to get some truly fantastic basketball. So there's two ways you can look at this tournament. You can look at it from there's no upsets. This sucks. There's no upsets. This sucks. It's showing the portal and NIL is ruining college basketball. And I do agree with that. I 100% say there's a lot of truth to that. But I choose to look at it from a glass half full side, which is the better teams have won, meaning that we are going to witness some really fantastic high level basketball towards the end. Because are you really going to sit here and argue that you want to see a 13 or a 14 seed just get blown out in the Sweet 16 or Elite 8? Because that's what happens. That's what happens with these games. Like they make a fun run, it's awesome to watch. Then they play a truly good team, they get blown out. It happens all the time. It used to at least. So I don't think you can truly argue that this tournament sucks. Like keep people like Stephen A. Smith going on First Take and being like, this will be the death of the NCAA tournament. You clearly haven't been watching college basketball because this has been awesome. The ratings are up. All of it is up. it is fun to watch, and these are the better teams. So there's no, you shouldn't have any problem with that, in my opinion. That is what I'm going to leave it off with. I think that college basketball, there needs to be a lot of systematic change, but this is going to be a really fun Elite Eight and Final Four. I think some of the matchups we'll get will be really awesome, and I'm not gonna apologize for that because I think that's super fun. Oh, one matchup I would have preferred. I would have really wanted Michigan State in the Elite Eight. That would have been fucking electric. Regardless, it's all right. But I'm going to leave it at that. I'll get an Elite Eight and Final Four preview next week up. I'll do it earlier than Saturday, probably on Wednesday. Wednesday or Tuesday, one of those days. But that's going to do it here. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, and follow Instagram, Twitter, all sorts of that stuff. And I'll see you all later.